Okay guys, what's gonna happen now that I got the rears all done and the fronts are all done, now it's time to work on brake line work and specifically tapping into the brake fluid system. So I have the brake fluid reservoir cap left on. I'm going to be releasing the banjo bolt on my front Brembos. Then I'll take the front Brembos and I will rebuild them. So I'm going to take the pistons out, the dust boots off, obviously the pistons out, and the inner square cut seals out of them. I'm going to replace the square cut seals and then replace the dust boots with the high temp dust boots, and the pistons as well with the stainless steel racing pistons. So my previous video I rebuilt my rear Brembos with those. Now I'm gonna do the fronts, except I have to take all the old stuff out still from the fronts and release the brake fluid from the system. So without further ado, let's get into that. Okay, what I'm actually doing is releasing the brake pads out. So I've taken the retainer clips off with some needle nose pliers, and now I'm going to gently punch the brake pads out. Woo. Done and done. Brake pads pull out from the top. Great. And now you can see the pads with some of the lubricant. I'm gonna wipe these a little bit, tidy them up, and then I'm going to take them over to my work area, give them a hose down with some of the isopropyl alcohol and brake cleaner to get all the grunge off, and then start working them. Okay, now to tap into the brake line system, I am going to be releasing the banjo bolt here. It is a 14 mil, and then I'm going to be putting the line directly into this tub to leak the fluid into, so that I'm trying to not retain but keep the brake fluid mess intact as best as I can. Already dripping. So from this point, the system is compromised, and we're going to have to bleed the system no matter. So I tried to drain as much back in as I could from the caliper itself. Now I'm going to go and do the other side, and then I'll meet you over with the rebuilding. Okay, from this point, now I'm going to want to get as much I'm going to want to get as much of the dirt and oils off of these as possible. So I'm using some brake cleaner and rubbing the faces where the pistons are down, the insides and all the outsides of the calipers themselves. So now at this point, I'm going to let those air dry for a little bit. I'm going to pull the rest of my pistons out. So these are the RP Performance Racing Pistons, I call them, for the calipers I bought. They are 46 mil and 40 mil. So larger size on the left side here. So I'm going to also wipe them down because of any potential oils they may have on them. And I will set those aside for the clean rag. Getting back around is my brake fluid, getting out of the lines in the front here. Use my chip buckets. By the time I finish this, basically the whole resin will be pretty much dry. But okay. It hurts to have a brand new flush. Okay, it's all clean. Now I'm going to press there and pop the pistons out. Okay, I've got my compressed air here. And I've got a 2x4. And I'll be popping the cylinder heads out, and they will come out fairly easily with the compressed air. I just don't want them bashing into each other. So right away, the ones closest to me worked nicely just to sort of twist it, and then it came right out. So now I'm going to take some time and just give it a wipe down. Inside first, on the faces, make sure everything's out and clean. Okay, good. this one. Except this time, my recommendation is to, while you're pushing the air through, squeeze your hand in to hold these two inner ones first. The close side. So, only one piece of wire. What's the far side? Let's get this load. Obviously, it's not really small. Flathead. I'll just partially push that back in. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is give the insides of these guys IPA wipe. So that stands for isopropyl alcohol. Okay, so I have my inner dust boots, inner square cut seals, I should say, not dust boots. Inner square cut seals are here. I am going to pour some brake fluid into a container, fill it up a quarter of the way, just enough to get these submerged. 1, 2, large, small, large, small, large, small. Turn around in there. There we go. What I still need to do is get the inner seal, square cut seals out of this. And in order to do that, I'm gonna take a really small flathead, just nudge it, and just flick it. So I'll be working biggest to smallest, side to side, obviously, but biggest to smallest. So I'll dip my finger in and I will rub the bore with some brake fluid. And then I'll grab my large size. I'll stick it down in the tip of my finger. Work it around, and with a click, it's in. Okay, same thing on the other side. I'll take some fluid first, rub it around the bore. Take the seal, stick it in. Now, I'm going to follow the seal around the side and then make sure that it's not getting flipped over on itself. Boom, snaps right into place. Great. And I can feel it. It feels secure and not flipped, which is excellent. Just want to be wiping up any excess brake. Time for the pistons. So the 4 large pistons and the 4 small. Keep them on a clean cloth. What I'm going to do is give them a touch on the bottom in the brake fluid, just sort of dab off any excess, stick it in the bore. Slightly. Okay. So I have my large piston and my small piston, 2 in each caliper, 4 overall. Large piston being a 46 millimeter. small piston being a 40 millimeter. Now, this way, by far the easiest thing to do is have the pistons out, put the dust boots on. I'm just trying to run my nail around like that, and it's on. Cautious to clean. Tiny little dab of brake fluid on the back and sides. I'll wipe the face. Mix that in. And down. And then you just push the dust boot into the caliper seat. And that's our first rebuilt caliper. Dunzo. Okay, so all the boots are on. I'm gonna wipe them down now to make sure that there's no excess, anything left in the boot or on the piston. This is, I think, the easiest way to do it, given that I tried before to do it the other way. So I'm gonna wipe down the faces of all the bores once again, and I'll dip a finger and place a little bit around the lip of one piston. Stick that in, 2 thumbs on each side, push firmly down, and it just goes in. Okay, so I have the pistons all in, ready to get put back on the car. What I'm gonna do is thread the bolts in on the back. This would be knuckle to hub. So for those of you that don't know, the nipple always has to go up. The bleed valves always has to go up. And that's how you tell which caliper goes on which side. It just makes sense. Air rises. So you want the air to escape, and with it up, it can obviously escape. Okay. Now, I'll stick the banjo bolt back on. Make sure that you have the little copper washers on both sides of the brake line. Brake line banjo bolt, that is. Comes up like so. And that's how much brake fluid leaked out. Nonetheless, pads can go back on, pins can go back on. I'm going to do the other side and hook up the line and get back to you. Okay. 14 mil banjos are going to go to 12 foot-pounds. And the caliper to knuckle are going to 80. Here, French. 80 foot-pounds, 20 foot-pounds for the banjo.